Hey folks, it's Brett Pruitt with Full Time in My RV, and I've got some tips here for you. We're going to divide this video into two. This will be video number one. It's got the first 10 tips, and that's just to help kind of keep it short. And then I've got another 10, not like the Dave Letterman top 10, but pretty close. Number one, get a surge protector for your RV. I cannot stress this enough. Not all campsites are wired correctly. And if you live in Florida like I do, you're prone to a lot of lightning, and not having a good surge protector can cause all kinds of problems for your inverters and your converters and wiring system as a whole. So number one, get a good surge protector. I have one in the gadget section that I recommend. It's about 140 bucks, and it will save you quite a bit of money. Second, learn where your water tanks are. I found this one out the goofy way. When I got on line looking at RVs, and I was a noob when I moved into the RV, understood that how many gallons that I had of gray tank and black water tank holding, but I didn't realize in the Keystone that they actually divide your gray water tanks, and one for the galley, which is the kitchen, and one for the bathroom and the shower. I saw the galley light, but idiot me thought the galley light had to do with the gas bottles, the LP gas bottles. And what had happened one day, and I'm going to go ahead and admit to being stupid on camera, and y'all can make fun of me if you want, you guys that have done this for a while, but what had happened was one day I go in and the sinks won't drain in the kitchen, and I did everything from, clearing the P trap to fishing the line with a snake and the whole 9 yards. I mean, I realized real quick that was not the problem. And I went out and I knew I'd dumped the gray water tank, but I went out again and went snooping around the camper, and all of a sudden found the lever for the galley gray water tank drain. The black water and gray water for the shower were in the storage compartment. The gray water tank dump valve for the kitchen was behind the wheel on the curb side of the camper. It dumps through the same portal, but it's there and not in the same place. And so of course, as soon as I did that, all the water in the sink went out with it. Number three, this is something that you need to know as well. I did know this beforehand, luckily, from watching a lot of videos. Do not leave your dump valves open, not even for the gray water tanks. You need that water in your gray water tanks for when you dump your black water tank, you run that gray water behind it to clean your sewage pipe out. But if you leave your black water tank valve open just because you're sitting out on shoreline, you don't have any water in that black water tank. So any solids that go into that tank, as it starts moving its way down, will get to the dump valve area and will solidify, and you're going to wind up having to knock that out or pay somebody to knock that out. So leave that valve closed. Never have that tank bone dry. As soon as you dump it, a good rule of thumb is put about 3 gallons of water in it at least, and then put your chemicals in there. You always want to have water, 3 to 5 gallons of water in that tank at all times, just so that you don't wind up, having solids build up in your tank. This is where you wind up having problems with your sewer sensors and things of that sort getting covered up and not working properly. Dry fit your sewer hoses before you intend to use them and make sure that they're secure. The reason for that is it hasn't happened to me, but I've heard other people talk about how they hook their sewer hoses up and they didn't dry fit them beforehand, and it turned out they didn't get their bayonet fittings nice and tight, or they didn't line up properly, or maybe the hose was defective. Oftentimes, actually, with mine, what I found was the hose is corrugated, but it came off the end that connects into the sewage. From the connector that goes from the hose to the sewer inlet into the ground came disconnected, and I needed to screw that back on. So dry fit those things and make sure that they're working properly before you do it. Dump all of your tanks before moving your trailers if you have a trailer. And the reason being is you don't want to go down the highway with water in your freshwater tank and any more than 3 or 5 gallons in your black water tank. And the main reason is that's going to cause a porpoising effect in your trailer because it's added weight. Likewise, if you live in a hurricane zone like I do and a hurricane's coming and you can't move your camper, fill all of your water tanks. Fill them all the way to the top. Your freshwater tanks, both of your gray water tanks if you have to, and your black water tank. Fill those things full of water. Get that extra weight in the camper. Number 7. I highly recommend using both the deodorizer and the solids absorption, or for lack of a better word, the things that eat the toilet paper and the feces in the black water tank. Some of them will tell you that they have a deodorizer built right in. I don't care. You still get an odor, so use both. There's some people that talk about using Calgon fabric softener to help with cleaning the sensors, and some of it with the odor. There's people online that have how to make your own toilet chemicals and things of that sort. Be more than happy to have you take a look at those and see if that works for you. I haven't had a chance to try it yet. It's the only reason I don't have anything up yet. Number 8. No matter how hard you try, unless you wind up paying about $400 for a JT Strong Arm set, and even then, not to the 100%, you're never going to have a completely stable camper. This is, again, for the fifth wheels and the travel trailers. They're going to wobble back and forth to some degree because you got tires on one end and you got 2 sets of stabilizer jacks, and they wobble and cavitate back and forth. So unless you're going to pay the extra $400, just be advised that's normal. It's not a problem for your motorhome to bounce up and down. Number 9. Get some different RV or toilet papers and test them out. Find out which ones are going to work for you. Some of them are so thin that they barely have a side to them. I personally have liked the textured Scott toilet paper. It holds up real well, so you're not playing beat the clock with your toilet paper, and it does dissolve real well in the RV tank. You don't want to use your standard thick Charmin quilted Northern or whatever the heck tissue, because it's not going to dissolve fast enough in the tank, and you're going to wind up with a big clump that's going to cause you problems in the future. And number 10, get some tower fans. You can see the tower fan right over here as I'm pointing my finger at it. They don't take up hardly any space in the camper, though they oscillate, and they're great for moving air around on those hot days so that you're not burning your AC, up trying to get the camper cooled down. And in the fall, you don't have to have your ACs on. You can open the windows and let that fan move back and forth. The beautiful thing about it, and pay a little bit of money for your fan. Don't buy the cheap $9 fans. Get up around $30 or $40, because when you do, they're real quiet, and you're going to like the airflow that they provide. So that's going to be the end of this tips number 1 video. I'm going to do tips number 2 here in just a moment. Hope you're getting some good information. Thank you for watching.